with annual cash patronage payments. We tip our hats to the farmers hard at work this harvest season and reflect on the year with gratitude for our cooperative members. Farm Credit Illinois wishes you a safe and bountiful fall. Visit farmcreditil.com to learn more about FCI's cooperative advantages.
WHOW Combine Reports are brought to you by AAK Mechanical in Clinton, Apex Clean Energy, Baum Chevy Buick, Farm Credit Illinois, Peterson Insurance, Longview Community Bank, Illinois Corn Marketing Board, State Bank of Bement, and Macon County Farm Bureau.
Eleven minutes after 7 o'clock is news time on this Tuesday. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded 7 o'clock newscast brought to you by Connexus, providing fiber internet to Clinton. Learn more at DeWittDailyNews.com. News also brought to you today by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. It is open enrollment time for Medicare Part D, and now is the time to make that appointment to see your local advocate to review your plan. Diane Cusey with Community Care Systems in DeWitt County says her schedule is filling up fast with appointments, so do not wait to get that appointment made.
So starts October 15th and ends on December 7th. We've had a few plans go out this year, so you might want to make sure that yours is not one of them. We had a Blue Cross, a Cigna, and a WellCare plan. We usually have one plan that's zero premium, and this year we've got two plans that are no premium that might work. The cap this year is $2,100 for 2026. This year it was $2,000, so that's really good for that. Part D deductible $615. We are going to do, or I am going to do, some outreaches again, like I always do. Kinney, Waynesville, Weldon, Farmer City. I'm going to do a couple days at Nixon Manor over there on Railroad Street, and 4 or 5 days at the Friendship Center too.
According to QC, seniors will want to make note of some of the changes to this year's plans. She indicates those changes are going to make this a very busy year.
The only change right off the top of my head is those 3 plans going out. The Blue Cross, there was a Blue Cross plan, a Cigna, and a WellCare plan. So in October, you should get that annual notice of change, and those changes would be in there. Or you probably have already gotten a letter stating that you would have to change to something else. And then the big one this year is Health Alliance Medicare plans are ending, whether it be health insurance, the Medicare supplement, or the Medicare Advantage.
Yeah. And you said that's going to impact a lot of people.
A lot of people. Okay. A lot of people. I've got a lot of appointments already. People that I don't normally see. So it's going to be a busy year this year.
Cusey will be making the rounds across DeWitt County to provide access to as many people as possible. Her stops will be throughout the county, mostly in November and December.
Okay, so starting, we'll start at the DeWitt County Friendship Center. Going to be there from 8:30 to noon on October 24th, October 28th, November 11th, and November 25th. Waynesville at the Township Building, I'll be there November 13th, which is our regular Thursday. Weldon, I'll be at the library October 23rd, November 6th, and December 4th from 2 to 4. Nixon Manor, that's over there on Railroad Street. I'll be there October 30th from 2 to 4, and November 20th from 9 to 11. And then the last was in Kinney. I'll be there October 22nd and 29th and November 26th. And those start at 8:30 and just kind of go till noon.
Cusey again encourages seniors to still try to make an appointment with her, even if their plans are not changing. She indicates there may be better, more affordable plans for people if their circumstances have changed.
Meds change every year. So like this year, it might cover albuterol, where next year it may not. They change every year, unfortunately. So it doesn't take very long. Especially just with a standalone prescription plan. Takes 10, 15 minutes to look over those, enter your meds and see what works. And if it's fine, then you just continue on. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
But if there's something else that might be a little bit cheaper, that's the time to change.
Last year, QZ booked nearly 250 appointments, with half of those having plans adjusted, saving residents over $82,000. Community Care Systems has a new office at the Flower Corner building across from Casey's on Route 54. You can contact QC to make an appointment by calling 217-518-8010. A Central Illinois school district is beefing up its e-learning plan this week. The Maroa-Forsyth Board of Education meets this week, and at the top of the agenda is revisions to its e-learning plan. Superintendent Adam Ibbotson tells the Hart Media Group this is part of a 3-year renewal mandate by the Illinois State Board of Education.
Maroa was an early adopter of e-learning even prior to COVID-19. And that's kind of what we all associate with e-learning, is when that happened and the shutdown happened. But Maroa was an early adopter to that in 2019 and started their very first e-learning plan. So nothing new to Maroa-Forsyth School District. And then every 3 years, that e-learning plan has to be reevaluated. And when you renew that plan, there has to be a public hearing. That plan has to be presented, reviewed, public comment, and then the board has to take action based on that plan. So our 3-year plan was up, and we are up for renewal. And that hearing will occur Tuesday night prior to the regular board meeting. Starts at 6:30 at the library. E-learning is something that we all know the value of face-to-face, in-person instruction is always the best. That I think the pandemic taught us that's the most important. However, e-learning provides an opportunity for us to keep school going, at least to keep maintaining, at least moving in. If we do have if something happens, whether it be a weather situation and we don't want people out on the roads, or whether it's a situation where, let's say, we have a gas leak or the water gets shut off for whatever reason, it's a way to continue on with school. And then last year, we had some e-learning days just for weather that we called along the way. And they were only for winter weather situations like that.
According to Ibbotson, the e-learning plan is getting beefed up in a big way. He explains they worked with the administration to have a more engaged approach almost across the board. The thought process was there needs to be learning taking place, and with the old plan, there was not a lot of face-to-face interaction.
So what I did is we really sat down with the administrative team, our teachers union, talked with our teachers and our leadership teams about, is this something that we want to continue to pursue? And our staff is in favor of continuing on with it. But I think we did a good job over the summer and the early part of the fall identifying what are the requirements that really are there. So there's 2 parts of learning that happen: synchronous and asynchronous. Asynchronous means that it can be something that you've already got prepared. It could be assignments that are posted and you work on at your own time. And then synchronous, there needs to be a piece of that, a chance for some live check-ins and some live instruction. We hadn't really done a lot of that practicality-wise in the past. So we had worked with our teachers and staff about providing some synchronous learning opportunities, at least making them more robust than they were before. That means that you and I, like if you're on a Zoom call and I get to interact live with my teacher. For example, at the high school and middle school, they will run a bell schedule. And there's a period of the day from about 10:30 to 11:30 that they'll run through all 8 classes, and their teachers will be live for that period to answer any questions. Do you have any questions on the assignments? They may post them on Google Classroom, but it's a live check-in. And the main reason for that live check-in is student attendance, make sure our kids are safe, make sure that they're accounted for, and to be able to clarify anything that they may not be able to answer otherwise.
Okay. The plan relies heavily on a student's ability to have internet access. Ibbotson knows technology can sometimes fail, and not everyone has access, so there are procedures in place for those circumstances.
Our elementary school kids have packets that go home with them, different days of activities, and those teachers will be able to check in with that meeting and explain the packet.
Okay.
They'll do that at the beginning of the day and the end of the day for our elementary school kids. We also know that within e-learning that technology doesn't always work. Mm-hmm. So we have plans if kids don't have access to technology that day, if the internet goes out, if they can't complete the assignment, if they can't log into the Google Meet. Most people have a cell phone. Most people have cellular service. They could get onto the Google Meet on an app on a phone to check in. If that doesn't work for families, we have grace. It's fine. We'll work on getting the assignment completed because it's important to do it. Teachers need to grade it, make it accountable. But if they can't complete it on the e-learning time, we've got some of those things built in.
Ibbotson contends having e-learning during the school year is better than extending the calendar at the end of the year because learning at the back end of the school calendar is much more challenging.
I would argue too, Seth, that if we took 5 emergency days and school drags on after Memorial Day, there's some challenges to that at the end of the school year when people are ready for summer and ready to be done, that sometimes the educational value at the end, even though you're in person, is sometimes tougher. So it's kind of a trade-off between the two. And that's why we collaboratively work with our teachers and our staff. And then we'll have the hearing and have that on Tuesday.
Ibbotson points out he modeled the Maroa-Forsyth plan after several neighboring districts that have revamped their plans in recent years. Drought conditions are becoming a real concern in parts of central Illinois. With the harvest underway, farmers are not complaining about the increased combine time. However, if we don't get some rain soon, things could get serious going into the winter months. Ed Shimon at the National Weather Service in Lincoln indicates even aquifers and other water sources are getting low.
It is really seriously dry. I mean, it's definitely affecting. Even I heard on the radio on the way in, Lake Decatur is like 3 to 4 feet below normal. So they're voluntary water, if you don't have to use it, don't water, it's not water restriction time yet, but boy, we are really, really low on soil moisture, and even aquifers and water sources are starting to get a little low.
According to Shimon, while some places have received enough rain to be in good shape, the vast majority of the state is hurting for moisture.
Yeah, overall, the vast majority are hurting in terms of soil moisture content. Some spots did get some beneficial rains, just hit or miss. And, a few of those are, able to say, hey, my area is not too bad. But overall, looking at Dr. Trent Ford, the state climatologist's last report on the drought, we are definitely getting to some critical levels. We're at D2, which is severe drought. There's 2 more levels of drought beyond that, but it's definitely impactful. It's not that just a little bit abnormally dry. We're getting that higher impact level of the drought this time.
While the winter season may evoke memories of snow and ice, Shimon indicates those forms of precipitation are really limited in how much moisture they actually put into the ground.
Wintertime is still dry. If we have a warmer wintertime period where we don't get that frost depth, then, we can get anything that falls, it can melt and go right into the soil and be beneficial. If we get that, 5-6 inch frost depth and it stays for a while, then it's really hard to get any replenishing moisture into the ground because everything really just runs off at that point.
Got it.
So the longer we can stay without a frost depth, the more beneficial. But in the wintertime, those are some of our lowest moisture producing months in general, because a lot of the precipitation falls as snow and you don't get those really heavy rains most of the time. So
this week we are anticipating some rainfall. However, Shimon indicates the monthly outlook is offering a very dry prediction.
Yeah, when I look at the whole month of October, that monthly outlook, boy, it pegs us as below normal precip, in that 40th to 50th percentile. So it does not look like, maybe that 19th of October event is going to really keep us, push us towards normal at all. So I think we're probably going to end up below normal, maybe an inch or so, if not more, for the month of October. Looking beyond that, they kind of tip the balance toward equal chances for the, it's October, November, December timeframe. So all the way into the first month of winter, equal chances. But below normal precip is just south of Illinois and all the way into the Central Plains. So the only thing we're going to really be seeing is maybe if we get a couple of lows out of Canada periodically to give us some rain, but it's not looking good like we're really going to be above normal on any of the months of that next 3-month outlook at this point. So
to the question of soil moisture loss during the winter with cold days and less sunlight, Shimon notes the soil moisture loss is not as significant as it is during the April through September timeframe. Shimon joins the WHOW morning show again the week prior to Halloween. News time is 25 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday. We wrap things up coming up on the WHOW Morning Show.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
Closeout time is here for a new Chevrolet. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. Yes, we have a good selection of 25 Silverados remaining in regular and crew cab models with gas or diesel engines. Some with utility beds and dual roof wheels. Also see our remaining Colorados, Trailblazers, even our full-size Suburban and Tahoes, all priced to move out. See our 25 inventory today at BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
News time, 27 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded local newscast. Low water levels are a concern on the Mississippi River, especially downriver, says Tom Heinold, chief of the Operations Division of the Rock Island District of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
The channel gets a little bit shallow and narrow down south. I'm talking, Memphis, Vicksburg areas. They mobilize dredging to try and keep that channel deep. I remember several years ago, St. Louis had a problem with rock pinnacles that you might remember when the water got low. They actually went in and blasted those rock pinnacles off so that their channel in St. Louis district no longer has a problem with that. They don't need to, dredge or have a rock excavation to maintain their channel, but the muddy / sandy bottom in the lower river that doesn't have locks and dams to back up the water, it does get shallow. And sometimes the dredges, there's only so much dredging capacity between Corps of Engineers owned dredges and contracted dredges. I think we've got every asset available. When the channel is narrower, of course, they can't push, a towboat can't push 40 barges at once. They have to push something less than that, maybe 32 or even down to what gets pushed up here is 15, 3 wide and 5 long is a typical string of barges up here. Unfortunately, that when that happens, they have to make more trips to get the same amount of barges downstream. So that's, of course, that's money that it costs, and that cost is transferred to the farmers who put their grain on those barges. So having a channel restriction due to low water south of St. Louis does impact our ag community, even up where we have impounded stable channels up here.
This marks the 4th consecutive year that low water levels on the Mississippi River have been a concern during the harvest season. We come up on 7:30 on this Tuesday. Stay with us. A look at harvest reports continue on this Tuesday as the harvest season, it's a sprint to the finish this year from what we're hearing from area producers. Also stay with us. We'll have a look at sports here coming up in just a bit on the WHOW Morning Show. Bears in action on Monday Night Football. A nice win for the Monsters of the Midway last night over the Washington Commanders. That comes up in sports. Plenty of ag programming still to come on the morning show. News brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick and Connexus Fiber Internet in Clinton. Network News is now.
Thomason in Washington. Thousands of years, nothing's been done. President Trump's assessment of the long-running conflict in the Middle East. Nothing's been done, he says, until now, referring to the 20-point peace deal he brokered to end the war in Gaza and bring the hostages home. House Speaker Mike Johnson is throwing cold water on hopes for a quick end to the government shutdown. This is day 14 as the Senate prepares for an 8th vote on a short-term Republican funding bill. It would end the shutdown, allowing time for negotiations on longer-term bills to fund the federal government. Some homes ordered evacuated in wildfire-scarred Los Angeles neighborhoods. An October storm expected to pound the region with heavy rains and high winds, possibly unleashing dangerous mudslides. On Wall Street, the Dow futures down 331. More details, srnnews.com.
Okay, some good news during a challenging time for everybody.
WHOW Combine Reports are brought to you by AAK Mechanical in Clinton, Apex Clean Energy, Baum Chevy Buick, Farm Credit Illinois, Peterson Insurance, Longview Community Bank, Illinois Corn Marketing Board, State Bank of Bement, and Macon County Farm Bureau.
As harvest begins, we are reminded that a farmer's work doesn't stop once the crop is in the ground. Just as Farm Credit Illinois doesn't stop working for you after closing your loan, FCI cuts the cost of borrowing with no lender fees at closing and puts money back in member borrower pockets with annual cash patronage payments. We tip our hats to the farmers hard at work this